God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 45 of Your Journey is Not Over. My name is Tanya Pearson Randolph. This is my own personal journey, and the expressions and opinions are of my own. I own all the rights to my personal journey and to Your Journey is Not Over, neither to be used, copied, or edited in any way without my consent. Before I begin today, I do want to send and ask for prayers to everyone in Texas that was affected in any way by the floods. Texas is dear to my heart. I lived in Grand Prairie, Texas, and I had the pleasure of meeting a lot of warm, loving, and kind people. Again, lots of prayers from me to you. I took last week off from the podcast, and I had a busy whirlwind of a week. I had the pleasure of meeting with some amazing people at a homeless shelter, and was so touched that they felt comfortable enough with me to share their individual journeys with me. As I told them just almost 11 years ago, I lost everything: my source of income, my car, my home, things of value that I had to pawn just to pay the bills, and countless days of not eating. I experienced firsthand how you can be on top one day and hit rock bottom the very next day, lose it all. And no, there's not a soul that chooses that for themselves. And no matter what statistics may say, not everyone that is homeless because they're drug addicts. I can't stand for anyone to be stereotyped because that's what society thinks or wants others to assume or think. Now, almost 11 years later, I'm grateful that I experienced what I did. How bizarre, right? On my healing journey, I've done a lot of reflecting and understanding, and I now understand, had I not experienced the things that I have, then I would never be able to relate, nor understand the how it happened, the fear of the unknown of where to live, how to afford the basic things. I couldn't even afford food for myself, and I couldn't afford dog food for my dog, so she ate cereal, which still hurts me to this day. My dog ate before I did, and I remember I couldn't afford something as simple as $1 thing of deodorant. Money was that scarce. So I could definitely relate to the hopelessness, the loss of what was, and dealing with their current reality. Hopefully, I brought them some hope and inspiration. I dug in and did what I knew to do. I worked and dug my way out one small step at a time. And yes, were the days long and scary. And I was standing alone, but I always knew I had God right there with me. It was one of those times where you have to dig deep and remind yourself that you're God's child, and with Him, anything is possible. As long as you have faith, then there's hope, my grandma always said. And here's something that I tell myself all of the time. This is for now. This is not forever. I do want to say thank you for having me and sharing your journeys with me. I'm sending so much love to each and every one of you. Also, I had the pleasure of being invited to an organization that is focused on getting runaway teens off of the streets, out of the hands and away from pimps and sex traffickers. I know at 14 years old, when I ran away from home, I had no clue the danger. At that age, you're fearless and can't imagine that anything bad could happen, or quite possibly, you could fall victim to people that could hurt innocent children. Drug them, sell them, and act like they own them, like they're property, other than human beings. Those children are someone's daughter, someone's son, someone's brother, someone's sister, and someone's grandbaby. And the ones I spoke to, all were running from abuse, physical and sexual, and lots of trauma. And their thoughts were that it couldn't be any worse on the streets. Sadly, each had their own horrible childhood traumas and realized that the horrible traumas at home, which one gets accustomed to, they become predictable. And no, should anyone have to tolerate abuse? No, not at all. But it's a big, cold world full of vultures just waiting for young, innocent children to use and abuse for financial gain. The greed of disgusting human beings that exploit young children, and shame on the people paying to have sexual relations with these scared, most of the time drugged up and out of their minds little innocent kids. It takes a really twisted person to pay for and get any enjoyment at all of raping, because that's exactly what it is. It's not consensual. Again, raping these young, helpless kids that found themselves prey to these demons. There's a special place in hell for the people kidnapping, drugging, raping, selling our babies. And there's a special place in hell for the ones feeding the demons. Paying for and beating, chaining, handcuffing, and raping our babies. You want to hear about trauma and pain and heartbreak and surviving the unthinkable? These are the people that you need to listen to. They are survivors, overcomers, of course, with so many scars. But their willpower inspired me. Not everyone makes it out, sadly, but the ones I got to spend time with beat those odds and now have a journey to share and use their knowledge, their experience to educate others in the hopes that it can prevent the next teenage boy or girl from running away and getting themselves caught up in the devil's spider web. And also, I hope they use their voice to hopefully encourage others that have found themselves in that horrible web spun by the devil himself, to encourage and give hope to other kids that you can escape, rebuild yourself, heal, and go on with your life, and create a life that you're in control of your destiny. Sending lots of love to those little ladies that become like little sisters to me. Thank you all for allowing me into your lives and sharing your journeys with me. I will see you all again soon. What's my saying? I make friends forever, not 5 minutes. Of course, stipulations being that I'm not betrayed, backstabbed, or feeling like one's dumping ground. I will not tolerate the projections or the digs with a smile any longer. And if my boundaries are crossed, well then, you lost a really good, loyal, ride or die friend that would have protected you no matter what and never intentionally hurt you. Never. I'm not built like that. But as I travel my healing journey, I've begun to understand that not everyone is built with loyalty, compassion, nor empathy for others. My beliefs are that there are just some people that are programmed, through their own traumas and losses, to not have a heart, a soul, or conscience with regards to others. It's definitely those people's choices and free will and their journeys to travel, and I respect that. I say this all the time, at least 3 times a day, though. What makes people think that they one day won't have to answer for every single thing that they did on this earth to intentionally cause pain on another soul? I mean, I truly want to know what goes on in these people's minds. As I say, inquiring minds got to know. I try to explain it to myself just to try and make sense of the senseless, I guess. Maybe they weren't taught about God and Judgment Day. Or some people run on egos and godlike complexes, like they're above God. One day, that will be their mistake. A huge mistake at that. I was taught about Judgment Day, most likely before I could walk. And the fear of God's wrath and that judgment has definitely played a huge role in my life and how I treat others, especially ones in need of love, support, encouragement, and hope, and a different perspective. God comes in all forms, is what my grandma always said. So we never know if that's God testing us, just to see what kind of heart and soul we have. And yes, I now also have learned the devil comes in all forms too, disguised as anyone. And the devil can and will use anyone that's close to you to stop you, block you, hurt you, distract you, just to get you off of your path, your purpose. And as I get into how people acted throughout my husband's illness and death, and the things I endured even after, the many tests I was put through, how the devil came at me strong with everything he had and used anyone close to me to try and wear me down, destroy me any way possible, delay my spiritual awakening, or try and stop it completely. With God, I'm unstoppable, unbreakable, and a gal that's on a journey to help others begin their own healing journey. not only for themselves, but for the many generations to come. Also, as you will learn episode after episode, I am no longer angry. Was I? I'm human. I tell God every day. So, yes, Lord, yes. Hurt, betrayed, angry, left not understanding why people did and acted like they did, when I was nothing but kind, loving, and giving, nurturing, and at a time in my life that I was broken into a million pieces myself, but still giving of myself to people that took my kindness for weakness, completely stomped on me like a doormat. Now traveling the yellow brick road, my healing journey, I now am no longer angry or bitter. And the betrayals, even though painful, I was already at the ground and felt like I was kicked lower. So, yes, painful best describes the spitefulness, the pettiness, the betrayals, the backstabbing. But again, traveling along and understanding the journey. God used what the devil intended to hurt me, to destroy me, to in fact build me, piece by piece, brick by brick, layer by layer, to a brand new foundation, into exactly where I was supposed to be and what exactly I was supposed to do with all that pain. I know it's hard to understand, wrap your head around others' actions, and some things aren't meant for us to understand. It's only for God to understand. And with trusting God, everything always works out exactly the way God intends for it to. So again, I'm not angry, nor am I hurt any longer. I only now can begin to understand how God stepped in and used the devil and his demons to push me to where I needed to be. God knows that I'm a creature of habit, and he also knew I would never change, shift, step into my purpose, nor would I step out of my comfort zone unless I was forced, pushed. Me coming out of my comfort zone was like being pushed out of an airplane without a parachute. Seriously. Like I said in my last episode, the devil used what he could, those that were around me. And well, God used those demons to push me, get me to step into and out of my comfort zone, and to speak up and speak out and show how, no matter what other people do or don't do or say, and when they have malice and intent in their heart to harm others, that all it takes is faith the size of a mustard seed, and God does a complete plot twist on those demons. He shows them, even though as narcissistic and entitled as they may seem, that no one is above God. And our God works all things for the good of us that believe in him. Just think, one day you will eventually thank those that came up against you, hurt you, and betrayed you, and backstabbed you. Because of them, and the pain, and the experiences, and the lessons, you got uncomfortable, and you moved exactly into who you were supposed to become all along. As they say, nothing good ever comes easy, right? This concludes my podcast for today. Please join me Thursday, listen in, and always remember, your journey is not over. God bless.
God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been